Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to unpack a high-stakes financial mystery that has suddenly halted a blockbuster NBA trade. Look, we've all seen superstars flip teams overnight, and we've definitely seen front offices push the absolute limits of the rulebook. But every once in a while, a story drops that just feels different. Not just because of the massive amounts of money or the famous faces involved, but because of the underlying questions. Questions that could genuinely reshape how an entire professional sports league polices its most powerful teams.
To really wrap our heads around the massive ripple effects of this story, we're cracking open this case file today. We'll be looking at 1. The halted trade, 2. The superstar's journey, 3. The salary cap, 4. The investigation itself, and finally, 5. The stakes.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the halted trade, a blockbuster on hold.
Imagine being a Toronto Raptors fan right now. When the initial reports broke, it felt like absolute destiny. Kawhi Leonard, the hero who delivered their very first championship, was reportedly coming back. But instead of celebrating a huge homecoming, the conversation violently shifted away from the basketball court and straight toward lawyers and league officials. Right now, Kawhi's expected return to the Raptors is completely frozen while the league digs into his time with the Los Angeles Clippers. The trade is on pause. The excitement has basically turned into pure suspense.
So what exactly led to this unprecedented pause? It's the question literally every basketball fan is asking right now. Why would a trade that makes so much sense on paper suddenly hit a brick wall? Well, to find that answer, we first need to look at the incredibly unique player at the center of it all.
Which brings us to Section 2, the superstar's journey from San Antonio to Los Angeles. You know, Kawhi Leonard is just one of the most fascinating figures in modern sports. His career is completely defined by dramatic shifts, quiet dominance, and immense success. He doesn't dominate the media landscape with loud quotes or anything, but his decisions, they constantly shift the balance of power in the NBA. He started out in the highly disciplined system of the San Antonio Spurs, drafted in 2011. By 2014, he's an NBA champion and Finals MVP. But after a severe relationship breakdown over a quad injury, he gets traded to Toronto in 2018. The Raptors took a massive gamble on him, fully knowing he could leave after just 1 year. But Kawhi delivered an absolute miracle in 2019, bringing home the title and becoming a Canadian sports legend overnight. And then, he signed with the Clippers.
But let's zoom in on that pivotal 2019 free agency for a second. Exactly 3 teams were fiercely competing for his signature: the Raptors, the Lakers, who are hoping to build a super team, and the Clippers. The Clippers eventually won that race, trading a massive haul of draft picks to pair him up with Paul George. It set the stage for huge expectations, though with injuries, they kind of became one of the NBA's biggest what-ifs. But honestly, it's that very 2019 free agency decision that brings us to the core of today's mystery.
Let's unpack that in Section 3, the salary cap, the foundation of fairness. To really understand what investigators are hunting for regarding Kawhi's 2019 signing, you have to understand salary cap circumvention. The NBA fiercely prohibits teams from secretly providing extra compensation or benefits to players outside of their official contracts. Why? Well, if wealthy franchises can just secretly funnel millions of dollars on the side through outside business deals, smaller markets don't stand a chance and the integrity of the cap completely collapses.
The whole point is that the salary cap prevents hidden financial incentives that undermine competitive balance. You simply cannot offer a player a massive, totally public official contract while simultaneously setting up a separate, secret financial benefit connected to the team. It's a huge no-no. If a player gets extra compensation connected to a team's recruitment, the whole system breaks.
All right, that takes us to Section 4, the investigation. Fact versus rumor.
We all know how fast rumors fly around the NBA, right? So we have to be super careful to separate verified reporting from sheer speculation. Here's what we know for a fact. The league is actively investigating business arrangements connected to Kawhi Leonard's time with the Clippers, and because of that, the Toronto trade is paused. Now here is what remains pure speculation. Absolutely no guilt has been established, and no specific rule violations have been officially confirmed. The investigation is ongoing, and right now there is zero official finding of wrongdoing.
So what's actually under the microscope here? Reports indicate that investigators are zeroing in on business dealings involving Leonard and a financial services company called Aspiration. This particular company has drawn the league's attention because it reportedly has past ties to Clippers owner Steve Ballmer.
And that brings up the ultimate mystery. Were these just independent commercial arrangements, or were they indirect recruiting incentives? It's a really fine line to walk. Professional athletes have lucrative endorsements all the time. That's perfectly legal and normal. But investigators are reportedly trying to figure out if these specific deals were used as hidden, indirect compensation to sway his massive 2019 free agency decision. Did a side business deal secretly link up to his basketball contract?
Which leads us to our final chapter, Section 5, the stakes and the possible outcomes.
Depending on what the NBA actually finds, the consequences are going to fall into one of three buckets. If there's no violation, great, the trade proceeds and we can all get back to talking about hoops. If there's a minor violation, we might see standard fines. But if the league determines a serious violation occurred, meaning the salary cap was intentionally bypassed, wow, we could see unprecedented penalties. We're talking lost draft picks, front office suspensions, and severe organizational consequences that could hamstring the franchise for years.
Ultimately, what you should take away from all this is that this investigation raises major questions about roster building, endorsements, and ownership relationships across the entire league. It's not just a Kawhi story or a Clippers story anymore. It's a massive stress test for how the NBA polices those hidden battles happening away from the court. Will teams have to disclose more about third-party deals from now on?
So, as we wait for the league's final verdict, we're basically standing at a crossroads. Will this become just another minor offseason headline, or is it the NBA mystery that changes everything? Kawhi Leonard has already given us some of the most dramatic on-court moments in basketball history. But depending on how this shakes out, are we looking at a simple misunderstanding of some complex business deals, or are the foundational rules of professional basketball about to change forever?